Kun, and today we have my guest, Rachel Evans, who is a certified dream builder coach, speaker, trainer, also my daughter's volleyball coach. Rachel's journey of self-discovery over the last 6 years has ignited a profound passion within her to empower working women in building their dreams, accelerating their progress, and crafting more abundant lives. Welcome, Rachel. How are you today?
Hi, Rose. Thank you for having me on. I am doing great. Thank you.
Nice. So can you tell us a little bit more about you and where you are now? Like, yeah, give us a little introduction of yourself.
Okay. So your introduction of me was beautiful. I love that. Oh, wow. So I had previously been married. I have two children. Went through a very traumatic end of marriage period in my life, and it was one event and then turned into another event that caused divorce. So he had an affair. He had an affair after something. He had legal issues, put our whole family through that. It was like 2 years of legal issues. And I stood by him through all that. And a year and a half after it was over, I found out he had an affair. So that brought me to California, packed up my daughters, packed up our dog, literally within 48 hours of finding out, drove across the country to move in with my parents. I was a complete mess. And I can't say I was the best mom, not the most present, but thankfully my parents were here and just showered all of us with love. And then it took a long time to get past that. Early on, I had even told my mom, like I joke around and say, well, next time I'm marrying for money. She's like, oh, no, honey, don't do that. I'm like, Mom, I'm joking. I'm joking. But I did not want to turn into like a man hater or to blame other men coming into my life for something that my ex-husband had done or things that he had done. I didn't want to distrust. I wanted to be able to openly invite a new man into my life, and it just wasn't that easy. So here I am, still single. I mean, I've had boyfriends over the course of the last, wow, how it's been like 17 years.
17 years.
But yes. But not, yeah, it's been a journey.
Yeah.
It's been quite a journey.
So with you being divorced and packing up and leaving to California, what did you learn from the being divorced and like the healing part of it? What have you learned about yourself?
I actually wrote a chapter that will be in an anthology. And so I put things in there that I did learn. First and foremost, forgiveness was a huge thing that I learned, because early on I verbalized to him because he got lymphoma, and that was a crazy thing. Like, here you have this whole traumatic thing happen, and then he calls and tells me that he has Hodgkin's lymphoma. So I'm not knowing what to do. I'm thinking, are my girls going to be without their dad? You know, even though I didn't have the best feelings for him, I know that my girls need their dad. And so I called him up and just told him, hey, I want to verbalize my gratitude for the experiences that we've had when we were together, all the traveling that we did. We have two beautiful daughters, and I want you to know that I forgive you. And I literally thought that was it. Yay! It felt good. I have this behind me and I've forgiven him. And it took over a decade to truly forgive him and realize what forgiveness is. That forgiveness is not a one-time occurrence. Like every time those feelings of resentment and bitterness and anger and hatred come up, it's another opportunity to forgive. And forgiveness is not for the other people. I've heard so many people say, that person doesn't deserve it. Well, forgiveness is not for that other person. That forgiveness is for your own peace, the peace of your mind, body, your soul. So that was a long lesson to learn, because I would be triggered by him. When I say decade, like it was a full decade later when I was just seriously getting frustrated at how triggered I allowed him to affect me that way when he wasn't a major role in my life anymore. And it was frustrating. I didn't know how to let that go. So I actually signed up for Bob Proctor's 12-month coaching course, not to be a coach, but to be coached. And that brought me a lot of awareness, and something during that course that was said was something that I wrote down right away. And it was, it just left my mind. I release those thoughts and things that clutter my mind. I release, and you insert their name, to his highest good, to live a happy, healthy, and prosperous life. Thank you, God, that it is done. So that really resonated with me. And I wrote that out every single night, sometimes in the morning, about him and the person that he had an affair with. And they ended up getting married and are still together and have 2 kids. And I truly started feeling that way. Like, I want them to stay together. I want them to be happy. I want my daughters to be able to have stability in their home and not have another broken home to have to sort through. They've had enough things to sort through, just going through their parents breaking up. So
Yeah.
that was one. What was in it? That was probably the major one. But another one is because I've had conversations with my daughters about it. One of them asked me point blank about, did daddy have an affair? And I was like, oh, here it is. I've been preparing for this, but now what do I say? So we had that conversation and it went well. But my other one didn't know. I think she knew, but she didn't ever ask about it. And something happened, triggered me. And I just let it, I just let it out. And good or bad.
Yeah.
So after that, and she was like really upset. And then I felt bad that I had delivered the message in such a blunt way and very emotional way. But something that she said was, if he wouldn't have done that, we could still be a family today. And this was after years and years and years. But something that I've told both of my daughters is, had I stayed together with your father, I wouldn't be the person that I am today. I wouldn't be as strong as I am. I wouldn't have explored different avenues that I have explored over the course of these years. And he was one who was very center of attention. And during our marriage, I was like, well, I don't want that attention. So, so I was like this shadow behind me. I was the shadow behind him. So had I stayed with him, I definitely would not be in the place that I am today.
Yeah.
So I'm thankful for that.
Yeah. Wow. And so if somebody's listening now and they're in the process of divorce, or maybe they're already divorced and they're still healing. What has what first step of forgiveness um has helped you like heal and moved on and let go of like the resentment, the anger, the trigger? Like what were the steps that you took to help you let go?
I'd I'd say the biggest one was writing out that little phrase that I shared. Because until that point, he triggered me like hardcore.
Yeah.
So that was probably step one of realizing, okay, you know, if I can truly want the best for him, then I'm not going to feel that resentment and anger and hatred anymore. Um, but something else too was healing. There was a lot of self-love and self-worthiness, and that probably, I mean, I've been working on it for probably the last 6 years, intentionally, super intentionally, and the last two. Realizing like, okay, you know, there were a lot of things that I was doing. You might logically say, yeah, I'm worthy. I love myself, but then your thoughts are maybe beating you up over, oh, I said I'd do this and I didn't, or you know, whatever those negative thoughts are that you have about yourself, you really need to stop that and start loving yourself. So maybe it sounds selfish, but we need to put ourselves first, because if we don't take care of ourselves and we aren't in the right place, nothing else is going to be in the right place either. And so all these relationships that I've had over the years that failed, they failed because I did not think I was worthy to have what I want. And I am finally feeling like I am worthy of that. And I feel it. And I love myself enough to put myself first. So I would say number one, work on forgiving them. Like truly, and it's not gonna, I had heard this story too, um, that somebody, his wife had an affair on him and with his best friend. And he was so angry. And I think it was Mary Morrissey that told this story. She was working with him. He was working with her. And she's like, you've got to find a way to let that go, to forgive them. He's like, they don't deserve it. And she finally talked him into, you know, just say the words. And then eventually the feelings will start to follow. So in prayer. And so in prayer, he'd be like, God, you know, I ask that all goes well for my best friend, ex-best friend, and my ex-wife. But if they're crossing the train track and a train happens to hit them, then, you know, that's in your hands. like he, you know, it's a joke, but that's how he felt at first. And then the more that he practiced, the more that he actually wanted them. And I think it actually came around full circle where they were actually friends again in the end. So, right at this very moment, for somebody who's going through it and it's toxic, and any conversations that you have with that person are not positive, it's tough. I've been there. It's not easy to see the good in that. But I would say if you can look at it like there's a there's there's growth in this for me, and there's a purpose that will come out of this, whether I can see it right now or not, that will put me in a place of my purpose, or in a place where I'm finding that thing that I'm passionate about. So if you can look at it that way, it does make it easier to go through. I didn't have somebody guiding me at the time going through what I went through. So it was tough. And
Yeah.
it's gonna, it's a tough thing
Yeah.
to go.
Forgiveness is, it's, it sounds easier than actually doing it. Because for me, it's like, they ask me, how can you forgive the man that killed your dad? I'm like, I don't know. How did I do it? Right. But it is it is like, my friend had this analogy of, um, like, I don't know much, like God and the tombstone for like Easter, and like so that tombstone, when God was in, I don't know the exact Bible story, but do you understand what I'm saying? Like when God was like,
The 3 days of that
or
Jesus
something.
was in the.
Yeah. So there is like a stone blocking, right? The entrance. And the stone is like the block on our own heart, right? We have to
Mm-hmm.
push it aside for you to walk out into the light. So
Yes,
I'm coming back to, when we are not forgiving, there's a block in our heart, right? We block from
absolutely.
somebody trying to love us to come into our heart. We don't accept it because it's blocked. So we're blocking the good and the bad from coming in.
Yes.
And to like, for me now to really live is like, we have to learn to open our heart, like whatever emotions that's coming in, it's for us. And for me, forgiving the man that, pulled the trigger that killed my father, it took time. It wasn't like a one day, oh, done. No,
Yes.
no. For me, I didn't have guidance too, but for me, what guided me was like writing, journaling, right?
Mm-hmm.
The event out, writing it. Like I wrote him a letter, and but the letter that I wrote to him, it was actually for me to release all the stories I've been putting on myself, and just, writing it and just crying. I was just bawling. But in order for us to be in the space of healing, we need to find a safe place for us. Because for
Yeah.
me, healing doesn't happen when you're not feeling safe. Your nervous system has to be in regulated and have a space where you're free to express who you are. So I was
Mm-hmm.
able to be at home when the kids are at school to do this work on myself, and it's journaling, crying, meditation, crying, right? It took
Yes.
time, right? And I can say I forgive is one level, but really, do you really forgive when it's internally your body, right? Because your body keeps score.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
and it doesn't matter if it happens 30, 40 years ago, it's still in the body if we haven't uh emotionally let it go, let it out.
Yes. Yes.
And there's layers of forgiveness. And once I did forgive this man, there was another layer of anger that I did not know where it came from. And the anger showed up in my relationship. So whatever you don't heal shows up in your romantic relationship. And anger
Mm-hmm.
was one of it. So there's layers. And so when this anger came up, you know, I didn't know where it came from until I did breath work. And when I did breath work, it was like uncovering that I didn't grieve my father's death. I was deeply saddened, and I had to feel all those emotions and
Mm-hmm.
to release it out. And now I feel so much lighter. So forgiveness takes time. It's not a
Yes.
one-day occurrence, and there's many ways to forgive. But as
Yes.
long as your body, if whatever it is that say like your husband always trigger you. Now I'm sure that you can talk to your husband, and whatever he does not even have no emotional triggers on you at all.
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah. So where I'm going back at now is like, first you said One of them was forgiving them, and then self-love and self-worth.
Mhm. Yes.
Yeah. Anything else that has helped you?
Yes, you actually verbalized it really well because I did the journaling. I wrote a letter. I I would say so two things. Meditation has helped me a lot.
Yes.
And when I started working with my life coach mentor, how long ago was that? 4 years ago. When I signed up for her program, she included the streamline meditation. It's now called Mush and Mind, but the process of the meditation is called streamline. And I love it because I have done guided meditations before that. And like I would do okay with that, but I always laughed at myself or got kind of a little frustrated because you're walking down the stairs, and as you're walking down the stairs and you take another step and then you're going down, and then halfway down the stairway, my mind's over here. And then now we're at the bottom of the stairs and opening a door. And I'm like, wait, what happened in the middle of the stairs? Did I miss something? So my mind was all over the place. Whereas streamline meditation it's a simple process, maybe not easy, but it made it easier for me because it's okay for your thoughts to come in. You're just not trying to grab them,
Yes.
and attach to them. You're letting them flow through. And that whole process is good for your central nervous system. Like there are thoughts coming in, and your central nervous system is processing that and de-stressing through it. And it's just been like, I love it. I love it. So I have a daily meditation practice, and I would suggest that for anyone out there in the world to have some sort of meditation process. Because I don't want to say it, I live in the US, so that's really all I know. But it just seems like it's hurry, scurry, got to do this, got to do that. And
Yes.
we do not give ourselves time to just not think, not, just be, just sit there and be. And
Yeah.
it's
Slow down.
powerful. It's
Yes.
powerful. So a meditation process is key to healing, I think. And oh shoot, I forgot the other one. Something else I was going to say. Um,
Yeah. So we have like um what it is really coming back home to you. Meditating is coming back to you are here now. You're not
yes,
anywhere else. And I love that you had the thing of when you're meditating and the thoughts comes up and you just have to just let it go or just don't detach. I like using like the frog analogy, how pretend you're a frog. If you're gonna lick every thought and grab onto them, you're gonna analyze it and you're gonna pick at it and stuff. How about if you're just letting it go, like spit it back out? Not for me. On.
yes. Watch it like a movie
Yes.
instead of trying to attach. And then there will be moments during that meditation where you realize, oh, I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
but you don't judge it. It's not good. It's not bad. It's just, it is. And you bring yourself back to what they call the inner space. But meditation also is to really the main purpose is to connect to your true self, your inner being, that I'll just call it your soul, who is all knowing. And in reconnecting with that, then you're going to be able to discover your true purpose and your passions, and you tune into that intuitiveness of yourself, which over the course of my life until the last 6 years, I was one who always second guessed my intuition. I was not connected to my intuitiveness at all. some thought would come to me and I'm like, where the heck did that come from? And then I'd be like, well, no, that's not the case, because practically, da da da, logically, blah blah blah, right? And sure enough, that intuition was correct.
Wow.
So it's taken me quite a bit of practice to tune back into and pay attention to that still small voice. We all have it. It's just whether we recognize it. Something Mary Morrissey says, and I love this, is like, if you have somebody call you that you know well, but maybe you haven't spoken to them for a year or something, but you grew up with that person. Maybe that person was your best friend. And as soon as you hear that voice, you know exactly who that is. That's how we should be with our intuition. As soon as we hear that still small voice, you should know who it is.
Yeah.
That's my intuition, and that's my true inner being telling me something important, and I need to listen. It's time
Yeah.
to stop and listen.
Yeah. I know. And I wonder how, because since we were born, we were always in tune with ourselves. The things growing up in society, like just life, like pushes away, or like how can one person connect with their intuition? That's a great question for myself, because I got to go back and think about that now. But how did you reconnect with your intuition? Like, we always have it, it's always here. But when was it where you're like, I need to listen to this?
It probably started when I did that 12-month course of Bob Proctor. There was a lot of awareness and tuning in, and I learned a lot from it, but at the end of it, I still felt like I'm missing something. And so I met Megan Kamai, who is my mentor, through that. Like, she posted on their Facebook page, and I was like, oh, I resonate with her. And so I signed up with her. And it was in the practice with her that I really became aware how disconnected I was from my intuition. And so with her help, that was the other thing I was going to say. With her help, I was able to start tuning into it. And she gave very good guidance on what to listen for, or, hey, if you, and to change up, because we're creatures of habit. So just changing up our route that we take to work can open up a little bit more awareness, start changing things up a little bit. But meditation was key to start tuning in. And also, I have become more at one, I feel, with everything. I don't know if this probably makes sense to you, but animals. I see animals and I'm like, hi, like if I make eye contact with them and I'm like, oh yeah, we're right there, right there. I see birds all the time.
Yeah, me too.
Like there was one period of time where I would see several birds fly as I'm driving, fly in front of my car. And I'm like, that was for me. Like, it happened time and time and time again. So now birds are a very special part of my day.
Yeah, yeah.
Going out on the beach and just taking in all the miracle of what it is, like these tiny little sand things, like, where does it come from? And it never disappears. You have a vast amount of ocean. You have all these creatures, from fish to seals to birds to the little sand, not crabs, the sand fleas or whatever they
Yeah,
are
yeah.
that the birds eat. There's an abundance out there. And one, like, every time I go to the beach, I'm like, this universe is abundant. There is no lack. Lack is false. It's just a out and out lie. There is no lack. Lack is in here. It's nowhere else but in your own mind. So like take some time and get out in nature. Get your feet in the sand, get your feet on the earth, hug a tree. I
Yes.
don't know, but like connect to the energy of the earth. There's power in that too. So all of that help like each step you take, then it just opens up more opportunity and tuning in to that intuition that you have.
Yeah. Yeah. Because nature heals.
Yeah.
Nature heals. And going back to like the intuition, the whisper, the voice is learning to trust it.
Mm-hmm.
For me, when I got, you know, uh when I was on my journey, I was like driving to after dropping my kids off from school, I'm like, why am I here? Why am I on this earth? What makes me feel different? I kept asking that question over and over. And then one day this voice came, forgive the man that killed your father. I'm like, what? Oh, I never thought about this man at all, at all. But for some reason, that whisper lit a fire within me. And
Mm-hmm.
I became curious. And that curiosity led me to forgiving this man that killed my father, um, being his pen pal, being like we had a
Wow.
spiritual friendship, like he's a changed man. And getting to know him and writing letters to like help him get out of prison. And now he is out of prison.
Oh,
To have I just spoke with him last week, and he's been out of prison for 3 years now. And he's on probation for 3 years. And in a couple months, he'll be out of probation. But just to hear his story of him, being incarcerated since 1990
wow.
and then coming out of it 3 years ago, the world has changed so much, and to just hear his story about how he's trying to survive and meeting good people out here that gives him hope, like, oh, having conversations with him, like, about life, about how he's processing his own emotion, dealing with people that are just, you know, not conscious. And it's a beautiful thing when I'm speaking to this man that killed my father, and I have no resentment, no hate, no nothing.
I love that.
It's, it was just, it's very healing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it is, but for him, the forgiveness was for me, but for him, is like he has to learn how to forgive himself,
Right.
right? He has to learn about himself, forgiving himself. Now living in this world where, you know, meeting people, somebody might be like, oh, he killed somebody, and look at him differently.
Right.
So how can you be this man in this world going places and having this background of who he is? It's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough. But for me to give him the grace, the love, the compassion of he's a human being.
Yes.
And like now
He's a he's a he's a spiritual being living. What is the saying?
uh uh
Uh,
we're spiritual beings living in this human
physical.
physical body,
Yeah,
or
something like that.
yeah, yeah.
And that's like in regards to forgiveness is that we're all souls. And have you heard of the book? It's a children's book, The Little Soul in the Sun.
No, I haven't.
So I literally just ordered it because I'm like, I need this book. So Megan, my mentor, has read it since I've worked with her, like in our groups, probably 3 different times. And it's a little story of this little soul, like let's say it's a new soul. and before incarnating, and just in awe of the beautiful lights all around her from all the other souls. And she's talking to God and saying, I can't decide what I want to go to earth, what my purpose will be on earth. And I think it might have been forgiveness, but I could be wrong. I can't remember. So she chooses, let's say, forgiveness. And so God says, well, but who's going to help you learn that? And she's like, I don't know. And so another bright soul came and said, I will.
Yeah.
I'll be the one to help you forgive, to learn that. But you have to promise me something, that you'll continue to love me. And
Mm.
she says, oh, yes. How could I have it any other way? So I feel like, and I just shared this with my daughter, my younger one, that don't like, don't, because she's still angry. I'm like, first of all, that's for me to work through, like my former relationship with your dad. That's not for you to hold or to carry. But also look at it this way, like I made an agreement with your dad's soul
Yes.
before I came here. And he did what he promised he would do before we came to this earth. So there's a there was an agreement. He followed through, and there. So now I'm a more expanded soul, right?
Yes. You're giving me goosebumps because that's what I'm learning too, is that from Dolores Cannon. But anyways, yeah, the people that come into your life are here, like, or we have soul agreements before we came into earth to, hey, I need this, learn these lessons, like him and my dad probably made an agreement with each other saying, okay, I want to go out this way, you kill me, so you can so I can help you evolve, and my time for my wife and my kids, like that's what they need only. So it was like we
Yeah.
all made these agreements with each other for our souls to evolve.
Yes. For us to experience
Yes,
whatever we need to experience in order to grow and
yes.
expand. Yes.
Whew. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just learning about finding like more deeper meanings to it. Like that could be it. That's a possibility, but I like that possibility.
Yeah. I like
It's
looking at it
more
that way.
open, there's like more open minded. Yeah.
Yes.
So where you are now. So I just went to Rachel's workshop last weekend and it was amazing. I
Oh, thank you.
love your energy, Rachel. Like you have this energy where like I don't know if I should say your age, but I thought you were my age, but you're
I'm
10.
39
But
plus
you're older, but you look so amazing.
13 years.
Yeah. And your energy is, if you meet Rachel in person, you're gonna love her just because she has this positive, nurturing, like bubble, like good. Uh when people see you, it's just all you can do is just smile. Oh, there's Rachel.
Oh, thank you. I
Yeah. So
appreciate
he had this workshop that we went to, and it was the power of vision, right?
it. Yes.
And she taught us in the workshop uh, three keys
Mhm.
to mastering your results.
Yes.
Can you tell us like a little rundown of um, this workshop and what you are doing now?
Okay. So, yes. Power Vision, 3 keys to mastering your results. I'm a dream builder coach through Brave Thinking Institute. And so I do a vision workshop and teach how to design your dream, how to decide for your dream, and how to befriend fear. So those are to help you move toward a life that you would love. And so I am still like planning it all out, but I'm going to have one of these workshops once a month, in person and also on Zoom. And my goal is to empower people in general, but but working women, single women who have been through a tough time like I have been through. And I want to be able to empower them and get them more quickly, more efficiently to where they're living their purpose and feeling empowered and strong and who they're supposed to be, right? I mean, everyone is exactly where they're supposed to be. That's something that I learned. But one of the other things about helping people come out of their dark phase, getting through forgiveness and all of that, ask for help. It took me the longest. Well, I mean, I went to therapy, but it helped for a little bit, but was not as profound as maybe hiring a mentor, a life coach, somebody who is where you want to be. So ask for help. Don't be afraid to ask for help. It's not a weak move to ask for help. It's stepping into your power.
Yeah, I totally agree, because on this journey of where I am now, like, I wouldn't be able to do this without my coach. And the coach really takes you to the next level of your life.
Yes.
'Cause the coach is a mirror of what sometimes you don't see. It's like a blind spot of you don't see. Like, you don't see your own greatness. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
all these doubt. And the coach is there to like remind you, hey, how many things have you overcome already that I heard of?
Yes,
You
my
know?
coach has literally said those very words to me.
And it's like, where in life, right? Where are you in life right now? Or do you feel stuck? Where do you want to go? What is your dreams, right? That's why we hire coaches in our lives. They're our professional best friend. I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know what we call them, but it's hard to do this alone, especially if you have a goal and a vision that you want to build.
Yes,
The coach is going to take
absolutely.
you to the next level. It's going to help you overcome what you're resisting, and helping you see like your own beauty and your own greatness. And this is what Rachel does. She's You work with single mothers or just mothers
Mm-hmm.
who are struggling. You've been there. You've done it. You overcame it. And now you are living your dreams.
Yes.
I love that.
Yes. Thank you. I
Yeah.
love it too. It's nice to feel like I'm flying. Like I remember sitting on the beach, I have a bird thing and watching the birds and I'm like, that's where I want to be, just flying free.
Yeah. Like the freedom of just flying wherever you want to go.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, um, say if your kids were listening to you or your grandkids listening to you right now, what message would you have for them? Say if they're just struggling in this a part of their life right now and they just came up to your video pops up for your grandkids and they're struggling in life. What message would you have for them?
When it's not supposed to be taken so seriously. I think we're on this earth to enjoy it, to revel in it, to explore it, not to be bogged down, stressed, all the things that we as humans do. Our soul wanted to come here to expand and explore and to have fun. And I've always been one who, I like to have fun, but always a practical, logical thinker. And, I would get stressed about things and time and again, it's not that serious. Everything, you are exactly where you need to be. I have had to remind myself that. And ultimately, it's my belief that we're here to fully embrace unconditional love. I think that's the main goal for us to be here. No matter the conditions, no matter the events, no matter what somebody did or didn't do, we need to remember who they are at their core, and that we're all one. We're all part of the same energy, God source energy. So we love them as well as we can. But the goal is to, I think, to love unconditionally.
Unconditional love.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you can go back to your younger self, what advice would you give your younger self?
Tune into your intuition and listen. And let me say this too, that it's called a still small voice because it's usually quiet and calm. Then you have the ego that is stressed out and chaotic and telling you this and that and making you all blah. So recognize the difference between the energies of your ego and to the still small voice, that calm energy that is guiding you. Now, that still small voice will get louder if you continue to ignore it, but it'll still be calm, a calm energy, not a, okay, that gives me anxiety kind of energy. So, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. The calm voice and the ego voice of go, 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 hurry, 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 hurry. No, no, like just like you can feel it. You can feel the energy of the calm voice that's soothing and like feels right. And the ones that's like gives you anxiety sometimes and stressed out. Is
Yes.
the difference between those two. Yeah. So well, is there anything else that before we end this conversation that you want to say to let the viewers know that's listening? You want to close out with?
Well, I would say again, don't be afraid to ask for help. And if you have resonated with me over the course of this podcast, feel free to reach out. And Rose, will you have like my email address or something? Reach out to me. I would love to work with you,
Yes.
or at least explore if that's a possibility.
Yeah. Where can people find you at?
Oh,
Besides the email I'm going to give them.
right. Yeah. So through Brave Thinking Institute, they do have a website for each of us, but they're working on it. So I will have a website, but I do have an Instagram page called at Mama Powered, at MOMMA Powered. And then you can find me on Facebook, Rachel Evans. You'll recognize me.
I love your hair. I love your hair. Yeah, so I'll have Rachel's information in the link below. And thank you so much for hopping on. You know, we just we just connected this weekend. Well, of
Right.
Rachel coming on the podcast and we made it happen.
That's right.
So
I
thank
was
you.
thankful for the invite. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for your boldness of showing up and coming on because sometimes coming on a podcast or doing anything speaking live, it's scary.
Yes. I am befriending my fear. Actually, as soon as I read on the card that you invited me, I'm like, absolutely. Yes. Yes. So I'm ready. I am ready. I'm ready to speak. I'm ready to teach. I'm ready. I'm just ready. Ready to be on podcasts. I'm ready to speak in front of hundreds of people. Okay, maybe not yet. 50 maybe. Getting there. It's a work
Yeah.
in progress.
Yes. So if you're looking for somebody to help you guide you through your next goal or dreams that you are envisioning, Rachel's your girl. Hit her up. I'll leave the info on for you. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Rachel. Anything else
Thank you,
you
Riz.
want to leave with or end with?
Um, no, that's it. Unless, should I give my email address right here?
No, I'll put it in the show notes.
Okay. All right.
So thank you guys so much for tuning in. This is Rachel Evans, and she is a dream builder coach. So I'll leave her details in the below, and thank you for tuning in. Bye, guys.